Thank you for the sparkling water and the M&Ms.
Of course. I mean...
This really is my favorite snack. I'm like in my happy place right now.
Yeah. With the sparkling water though, I don't know, like, do you have a preferred, like...
I love LaCroix, but I love berry sparkling water too.
Oh,
so this was like perfect.
Rad.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't even know that was berry.
Oh really? Just like
I thought it was the plain one.
No, this is perfect. Yeah.
Cool.
Have you tried Topo Chicos?
Yeah, Topo Chicos.
Right?
Yeah, those are really good.
Topo Chicos are different, man.
Yeah, Topo
That's
Chicos.
Like Pop Rocks in a drink.
What
It's
else? Yeah, those are wild. What other ones?
Yeah,
have we tried?
it really is.
I forget.
It's really carbonated.
Yeah, too carbonated.
Just different.
From the Alps of Mexico.
Yeah, in just a different way.
Yeah, those are cool.
Carbonated.
Those are good.
Carbonated. So M&Ms and sparkling water.
Yeah.
You usually have those together?
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Is that
or chocolate.
Yeah.
And sparkling water.
Chocolate.
I don't know, like
Oh, well.
like when I stopped drinking beer, like I just switched over to sparkling water.
Okay.
And then and then I don't know, because I think because I used to drink beer with chocolate. And then so when I started drinking sparkling water, I was like, well, I'll just keep the chocolate. And then like, I don't know. And then
You'll get
like,
that little fuzzy from the...
Yeah. So it's like, oh.
That's
So
funny.
you're a chocolate lover.
Yeah, I fucking love chocolate.
Yeah. Chocolate. Hey,
I love
chocolate.
dark chocolate
Yes,
too.
dude, dark chocolate's the best. When it's
Yeah.
when you see a little percentage on there, you're just like, all right, let's go.
When I went vegan, like I had...
You're vegan?
I'm not vegan anymore.
Oh, okay.
I was vegan for like 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And when I was vegan, I wanted a good snack. And, 7-Eleven has only a select few of snacks that are, like, vegan. So I was really, for, like, a point of time, I was really into, like, dark chocolate with peanut butter.
Oh,
yeah.
And I would
good.
just dip that shit in peanut butter.
Those are
Dude,
bomb.
it's fucking bomb. It was rad.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Trader Joe's I don't know. I loved them so much. I've actually thought about writing to Trader Joe's to like bring this item back, but it was like dark chocolate with a little bit of cookie dough in it, and it was super fucking good.
Dude, hey.
But they don't have them anymore.
That's so whack.
You hit them up. Hit them
Yeah,
up.
right?
Yeah, fucking go for it.
And every time I go, I'm like, oh, I think I should write them.
I should write a letter. Like, I should write them a letter. Like,
No, like, I've heard of people, like, writing, like, corporations letters.
Yeah.
And, like, sometimes they'll say, like, oh, like, sorry it didn't work out, but then, like, here's, like, free toilet paper.
Hey,
like,
there's reasons why some things make a comeback, because there's enough, like
Yeah,
hey, people
yeah,
coming.
demand,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
hey.
People start demanding. They're like, hey, why don't you have this? Where's this?
You just gotta let Joe know.
Yeah, Trader.
Let Trader Joe know.
I call it Trader Jose's.
Hey, that's a good
Trader
one.
Jose's.
I love that. That's
a
funny.
good- But that's good that you have your chocolate,
Chocolates
your
are the
sparkling
best.
water.
Yeah, chocolates are good.
Sparkling water is supposed to clear your palate.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
And they always give it to you when you're drinking like espresso. I know like Brandon got really into that.
I noticed like the coffee snobs, they like to go into the coffee
snobs
shops
right here.
with this
Ex-coffee snob.
With
Used to be. Now I'm okay with just straight up just putting into a little machine, Keurig, whatever.
Yeah.
And just
But-
cream
but-
and sugar sometimes.
Yeah, but that's why you probably enjoy your chocolate, because if you keep clearing your palate and then you get the complete flavor of the chocolate.
Oh.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's why they do sparkling water, because
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
helps
I never
with the flavors.
thought about that,
Yeah.
actually. That makes sense, though. So, when did you stop going vegan? Like, when did you end that?
I stopped, so I went sober for 2 months.
Okay.
At the end of, was it 2022? I was sober for like 2 months. Prior to being sober, I went sober because I'm a huge pothead and I spend like irresponsibly on weed and shit.
Okay.
So
I know that.
So I stopped for 2 months, and at that time I was on this vegan diet, like trying to help me gain weight, and it's like the most bland, fucking most boring diet. But I didn't care because I was always high, and when you're high, you
Everything
fucking eat
tastes good.
anything. You'll eat
Yeah,
anything.
everything tastes
so
good.
I was eating these meals like every day, just
The vegan
like,
ones.
Yes, the vegan,
Oh, okay.
the vegan plain ass meals every day, and then I went sober, and like. They just got so boring. Like, these meals got so boring, and I was just like, well, shit, like, I'm not eating fast food. I'm not drinking or smoking.
I'm fucking bored.
I'm bored.
That's
I got no fun. I don't even eat good food. So I started craving.
He started adding in some eggs.
I started.
okay. And then you got to
Eggs,
meat eventually.
cheese.
So do you feel like better after switching over?
Better as in like healthier?
Yeah, do you feel it? Do you feel it in your body?
I feel the same.
Okay, so that's what I'm always curious about. And like some vegans are fucking militant.
Oh yeah,
and
dude. Yeah.
Like self-righteous almost. So I had a good friend, we don't talk anymore, but he had he swore just vegan was the way. Like, he was really militant about it.
Those are always like...
Yeah, and so it not necessarily because, so I'm a cancer survivor, and one thing that I can't, one of the cancers something that triggers one of the cancers is soy.
Oh, no way.
Mm-hmm.
What the...
And so,
Jeez.
And soy is in a lot of vegetarian products.
Yeah,
which, by the way, I don't fuck with soy.
Dude.
I hate soy.
Yeah.
Vegan food that has heavily processed soy always didn't sit well with me.
Really?
Yeah, it always gave me stomach problems. I'm
really?
like, oh,
that's
shit.
interesting.
Yeah, it always gave me problems.
Yeah, so I feel it's not a diet for everybody.
Yeah.
And I would try to tell him that, but he's extremely stubborn.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, no, but his vegan food was seriously the best. He was an amazing cook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Damn.
so
I was trying to get there, but...
yeah, no, he made really good vegan food, actually.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but I know for me, I can't go vegan.
Right.
Yeah, no, hey, it's not... Exactly, it's not for everyone. It's
Yeah.
it's not... fuck it. Who gives a
Yeah.
shit? It's all about if you're able to do your best being a vegan and you're in it for animal rights. I don't think it's
that's
good.
why I did it. I was an animal rights guy.
You gotta.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta respect that. Just be like, hey man, that's cool. For me, I remember early on, one of the things that for animal rights, I was like, hey, I'm not gonna buy certain products or shampoos that test on animals and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I went vegetarian for a year, maybe 2. I remember.
Oh, really? You did
Yeah,
too? Mm-hmm.
it was cool. I don't get me wrong. I thought it was I did it, but I think just the household, my family, my environment was just it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, it's just right now it's not for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I do my best to cut it out, but hey man,
Yeah, and then
you can't scold people and shit.
at one point I was borderline pescatarian too, but because I got really, and this happens every so often where I get because I'm part Native American, and I'll just have an impulse of I gotta find my tribe today.
Yeah.
And for good year, I was just obsessed with trying to find my tribe. And so I was doing research on different Native American tribes, and some tribes were had a fish diet.
Oh,
so
sick.
For a good couple of months, I was eating just a lot of fish because I was just this is gonna help in some way, help me. I don't know, be more native, or I don't know why.
There's do you think there's a spiritual aspect to it?
Getting connected with my tribe.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, totally. I think because the last time I did mushrooms, I always tell my friends this story. I swear to God, it's such a spiritual experience. And before I took mushrooms, I'd always hear people say that, and I'd always think, oh, that's
You thought it was a little silly?
But I was also very religious when people would tell me that, so I just think oh, that's. I think I just had such a judgment towards it. But then that happened to me, and I swear to God, my grandma came out, and it was my Native American grandma, and we started talking, and ever since then, I pray to her. But that's something that Native Americans do, is they call God Creator, or some tribes do,
right?
And they pray to their ancestors.
Damn.
So I pray to my ancestors.
That's really cool.
That's rad.
So yeah, I definitely do think, because I feel Native Americans, and even to this day, if you tap into that side of you, there's this really weird, intense, spiritual element or spiritual channeling that happens.
Yeah.
And I can't really like I'm still trying to articulate it
Right.
and figure it out. I don't know, but
Well, that's cool. I mean, I feel like that ties really well into what kind of like your film that you've worked on, right?
yeah, well, it's interesting because so it's based off of a full-length script.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I originally wrote it, I was still really religious. And so but you know, I think like, you know, different people have different spiritualities. And this is interesting that we're talking about this because I don't think we talk enough about belief systems or spirituality enough. And so for me, and so I've seen a lot of people just either go religious or atheist or vice versa.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think that has to happen. Like, I think that we can have an evolution of faith or spirituality, so it can look differently.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, you know,
Yeah.
although, you know, I'm not in a building every Sunday, I still have a lot of faith, and a lot, if not even more so now. But yeah, I do try to write that in, because I also don't think that's shown in films or TV shows. Like, there have been so many times where I've seen a film or a TV show and I've thought to myself, really? Like, in this moment of desperation, that guy, like, this character didn't pray? Like, they didn't reach out to something greater than themselves? I don't know. Like, and I don't know if that's just because I'm still learning about how other people view the universe or something greater, you know, so, or is it something that I need to learn?
Fuck yeah.
You know, but yeah, I still tap into something greater.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, DARYLD has mushrooms in his room that he's been talking about.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, shit. Okay.
DARYLD, tell us what you experienced on these. I'm just
Wait, did you have spiritual experiences?
Yeah, actually, that's actually a very good question, because I'm for sure on the level of like, hey, I think exactly, it's not black or white. I don't think people have to be religious to be spiritual. I think spirituality is something very, you know, very different. People don't understand it. But I wanted to ask you, DARYLD. Yeah, what was your experience, man? What do you like? What
Did you see shit?
Yeah, what do you like? What
No.
do you,
Yeah,
how
what
would you
happened?
interpret?
So I didn't take a full dose.
You didn't do God.
I
God
did
dose,
like
or-
it wasn't a microdose. It was a half dose.
Oh, okay.
So it was the type of trip. You've done mushrooms before, right?
Twice.
So for me, it was the type of trip where if I'm focused enough, everything's normal. But if I just sit and go like that, then shit starts happening, and like, you know what I mean? If I just let go, then like shit just starts getting weird. But if I'm just like,
Well,
then like shit's back to normal again.
Do you think?
You know?
Do you think like your environment like shaped that experience? Like maybe how do you think like?
But if you take enough, like if you just like more than what you're supposed to, you're gonna trip balls.
Oh yeah, and I want to get to that point. I'm a little scared.
Okay.
I'm scared.
What is it, like a
of
hero's
psychedelics.
dose or some shit? I've heard it's like doing.
I don't know. I just remember when when I saw my grandma, I did take quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
With the person that I was with.
That's funny. I haven't actually tripped yet. I'm very curious. It's just one of those things that because same here. I'm a huge pothead.
You have to be careful with it, I think, just because I think there can be an element to how your mental health is.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you don't want to trigger anything.
That's what I would say too. Is like that's why I'm like, hey, there's been times where I'm like, maybe right now, dude, not in the best place right now,
Dude,
like, you know?
yeah, I did that shit. So
you told me about it.
So
You
the
told me
last
about
time I did it, I made the mistake of doing it by myself.
By yourself.
I did it by myself.
Okay.
And I was in my room. And like, I don't know why I thought that was gonna be a good idea. Like I got these mushrooms from like a dispensary. So I got them and I was like, oh woo, like mushrooms. I'm doing that tonight.
That was your response? Ooh.
Yeah, like ooh.
Woo.
You got mushrooms. So I got them, and as soon as I got in my car, ate
Knocked
them.
them in.
So that like, oh, as soon as I get home, I'm gonna start feeling them.
Uh-huh.
I got home, I took a hot shower,
Nice.
and as soon as I was done with my hot shower, the heat from the shower never left my body.
No way.
So like my face was hot.
You were burning
my
up or
body
what?
was hot for the rest of the night. I was freaking out. I was like, and the trip wasn't so bad. Like it was just how I described it. It wasn't so bad.
That's interesting.
But I was in my room burning up, and I was just looking up on Google like, what does this mean? and then I was just seeing shit like, oh, maybe it's an allergic reaction. So I'm just like, fuck.
Oh no.
I'm just like snuggled up in my bed. I'm like, I'm just gonna let this pass. I was like, fuck it, let me let it hit until I sleep. I couldn't sleep. I started looking at like, I have a poster of the movie The Mask,
Oh, okay.
and like it has like the character, Jim Carrey's character, and he's got his hat like that, but like his mouth, I look at it and his mouth starts moving.
Oh man.
I'm just
Yeah,
like,
that's a
my
trip.
blanket moved.
Your blanket
my blanket moved.
and so it was so bad. But people have told me over and over again, like, one, don't do it by yourself, and two, you got to be like in nature, you got to be like in an open space, because
Yeah, I've heard that too. I've heard that too.
I did, like, at the end, I did freak out. Like, when I was tripping at the end, I did start freaking out. And I called up my friend, and it's interesting because later on we started talking after that, but I was just like, oh, like, he's gonna calm me down. And like I call him and he's calming me down. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good idea. Like,
Oh,
he was
cool.
the right
That's cool.
person to
That's
call.
cool.
And so and I just remember we get off, right before we get off the phone, he says, rest your mind. And that was the last thing he had told me. And because I told him about the blanket moving, and shortly after that, I think a couple of days after that, like, he came over and we hung out, and he said, was that the blanket? And I said, oh yeah, the blanket that moved, the one that I was telling you about. But like, yeah, no, that's all that.
It's an interesting thing, tripping.
Yeah, it is.
I'm excited, but the same thing. I'm a little like, I want to be in the right headspace. I just don't want to do it in like,
Yeah.
kind of like, like, there's been times where I'm like, maybe I should just trip in my room by myself, and I'm like,
Don't
I don't
do
know.
it. Don't
yeah, you
do
see,
it.
I keep
Yeah,
getting.
go in nature.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't do it. But so your short film, actually, your upcoming short film, Saint Arcadia, that you just did, it kind of touches up like there's a part of, I mean, I haven't seen it, of course, but like, I know that some of it has to do with a psychedelic experience, not necessarily
dude,
psychedelics.
it's a cool log line. I mean,
Yeah.
So when did you so I heard you mention earlier it's based off a feature that was written,
Yeah,
right?
full length.
So how long ago did you write this?
I wrote this, I would say, wow, time flies. It's gonna be 4 or 5 years ago.
yeah, like, what's the story behind it? So how did it come about?
Yeah, so I
have it pulled it up right here too, just so we can kind of,
yeah.
It's awesome.
I actually wrote it or started writing it in a deep depression. Like, I was extremely, extremely depressed.
Yeah.
And I actually did humanitarian work in Kenya.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
I came back with PTSD, and somebody had said that I had secondhand PTSD just from everything that I'd seen. So I had just seen a lot, and then I'm healed enough to be able to talk about it, because honestly, for a really long time, I couldn't. Like, if I started to talk about it, I'd
Yeah, dude.
And then we were in children's, like, coming from a country where
Just has everything like that.
like where people die of starvation,
Yeah.
and then landing
like,
in
clean water is like seriously like
it's a luxury.
Exactly.
Food's a luxury. Like, here it's necessities, there it's a luxury.
Hey, I get it.
Yeah, so I'm back in the States, and I'm really depressed, and I don't really know what to do with my life. And I had been talking to this guy for a couple of years, and that doesn't work out. And so I'm really heartbroken, and I'm working, a dead-end job as a cashier, and so I'm living in the city. I had ended up in this, and interestingly enough, I want to move back there, but I had ended up in Claremont. And so I'm living in Claremont, and I don't really know anybody there, but you know, I'd found work as a cashier, so I'm like, fuck it. So I just thought, you know, like, I'll just start writing and then see what happens.
Okay.
And then
were you interested in movies before that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was actually talking to my friend about that yesterday, just about how, like, just being, you know, when I was little, sometimes my siblings and I would stop a movie and then we would write out the rest of it, and then I would jump in the director's chair, and my brother would jump in the director's chair, and we'd like direct each other, and we would act out the scenes.
Wow,
that's awesome.
And then in high school, like, we had, and I just really feel like this is just such a, like, God shot, where I had gotten the IFC channel, and so it was the IFC in Sundance, and so I was just opened up into a whole nother world of film. So like,
films,
like, so like Darren Aronofsky, Todd Solondz,
there you go.
Sophia Coppola,
Charlie Kaufman.
Charlie Charlie. Oh, I can't believe I forgot his name. He's
amazing. Yeah, he's the best. He's literally
my favorite.
Dude, he's like fucking awesome. The best.
And so then being in high school and just thinking, I have to do this. Like, I have to make film, you know. And you know, and so I was telling my friend that yesterday, and she said, you know, that's really cool, because a lot of people also want to do that. They just get insecure, or, you know, they allow all of these roadblocks to happen to them, you know, the insecurity, or just thinking that they're not good enough, or, you know, I want to do that but I could never. And I told her, you know, actually I get those thoughts too, but I would feel more uncomfortable if I didn't do film.
Yes,
like, because I'm, you know, as I was making the Seed and Spark, as I was doing the crowdfunder, I had that, you know, imposter syndrome voice, or, you know, the critic just yelling at me, you're a piece of shit, you know, as I'm, you know, writing up the Seed and Spark. And
when did you start it? When was that?
Well, the Seed and Spark, or just like actually like working on it?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
The Seed and Spark actually took a year to plan.
Yeah,
so that's why when you said, like, oh, I'm thinking about doing a crowdfunder, that's why.
No, it takes
a year to plan crowdfunding. Because
you gotta think of the incentives. You gotta think of, like,
the incentives. You have to get the people to help you.
Yeah.
You have to plan when to drop it.
Exactly.
You have to create clout.
You have to.
So you have to, like, pump up all of your social medias.
You have to make sure that you're letting them know, like, hey, we have the capacity to hit green light, you know.
Yeah.
And if you can't prove that to them, if you don't have like an 80% chance of, like, okay, they won't let you run, which is a good thing, because I mean, I saw that you guys raised what, $8,000 on it.
Yeah,
that's fucking cool. Like, that's more than our fucking pilot series.
Right?
You know?
Yeah, we shot both of our pilots for $6,000.
Yeah, like, we ended up just like, you know, estimated around all the money that we spent, we're rough around $6,000 a book.
But I'm so glad that you guys asked me to do this, because I actually don't. And I need to network and get out there and talk to other creatives, because this, like, helps me.
Oh, yeah, dude,
as
same
creative,
here. That's why we're here. Yeah.
Yeah, to, you know, just go out and just think, like, oh no, like, I could do this. Like, they're doing it too. Or they're in the same boat. And, you know, because, you know, I have the insecurity creeps, and, you know, I was telling my friend, you know, I don't know why they asked me to come on the podcast, you know, because I ran out of money again, and, you know, I have to, you know, do my own job, but I also have to, you know, continue making this film.
Yeah.
And she said, but how inspiring is it that, you know, it would be more, your situation's more inspiring than if you did have the money and you were out there and you were saying, oh yeah, I got, you know, I have this budget, and, you know, I'm back at it again. You know, I think people want to hear your story as opposed to that. But
fuck yeah.
So tell us about your short, Saint Arcadia. What is it about, and why do you think people should see it?
Yeah, so It's about a girl who signs up to be a part of a research group and they're testing out a new pharmaceutical drug called moss. And
is this real? This moss thing? Or is this
No.
okay?
No, yeah.
It's a
fictitious.
Because when I watched your video, I was like, is this a real thing? Like, but okay, cool. So it's a fictitious.
Yeah. So for a little bit I was into this writer C.S. Lewis, and he wrote a book called The Screw Tape Letters, and just the names of the characters are really interesting, and so he just kind of like would come up with the way that it sounded, and then he would write the character's name. So I was just thinking like, oh, like moss would be, that sounds cool. Like, I'm gonna take some moss.
Yeah.
So she signs up to be a part of a research group, and she lies and says that she has PTSD because you need to have PTSD in order to be a part of it, but she needs to make rent. And so, the side effects is you hallucinate, and so, you go on her journey of hallucinating. And
it sounds like a trippy movie. It sounds cool.
This is cool, like being here and talking to you guys, because you guys are, you guys can relate.
Yeah, dude, seriously.
I mean,
it's rough.
Yeah. I would rather, be relating to other people, and as opposed to, I don't know, like a Nepo baby that has never-ending funds.
See, it was a whole different struggle, like with Tube Heads, and I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
But the way we planned to go about it was we wanted to do it with money saved, money borrowed, and that's how we got the $6,000. And at the end of it, I remember on the very last, I think it was Andrew that I paid, actually. It was
Andrew,
very last day.
Shout out Andrew, man.
He was the very last person.
Shout out to Andrew.
Yes, very last person that I paid, and I handed him my paycheck. Like, that was the end of it. I just had nothing but my paycheck left. Nothing in the budget was left, and I was like, fuck, I gotta pay this guy. So I had nothing at the end of that. So we know the struggle, like,
it's rough.
But it was a little easier for us doing it that way. It was like, okay, I'm broke for 2 weeks. Like, I got nothing for 2 weeks.
I think it was just strategizing about where we wanted it to be, because like we thought about a crowdfunding campaign, and we're like, do we want to spend this time to kind of like like you said, they spent a year trying to just set up the campaign.
Yeah, and that daunted me. That scared me.
And
when
I
she said a year.
understood.
I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And I understood
There's
that.
a lot of prep.
Like, especially knowing that, I mean, because I'm more of like I'm like a producer with DARYLD. Like, I'm like, hey, DARYLD, let me take on like a lot of the producing kind of like aspects to it. And so like I kind of knew what it would take to have a crowdfunding campaign for a pilot that we wanted to do. But as we kept talking, we were like, you know what? This doesn't have to be the end all be all. Like, it has to be perfect. It has to be this. It has to be that. I'm like, we know guys. We have friends. We have enough gear. I think if we just put down like $2,000, like literally $2-3 each, we can make it happen. And I think it was kind of like us betting, like, if we make this pilot series, it's not just making it. I think it's being able to get our money's worth by knowing that we can pitch it. Like, hey, we can send this, we can create a pitch deck and send it out, and we can have the opportunity to pitch ourselves as directors, as producers, as like somebody who is like, if we were to go to any company and be like, hey, look at what we did, look at what we know how to do, look at all the things we did with such little money. Imagine if you were if you believed in us and you can give us a little bit of money, we could produce something really cool for you guys, or you can trust us and we can produce what we want. Or
no, totally. And I mean, like, I know I said it takes a year to prep for a crowdfunder, but also you guys actually have would be ahead of me because you guys have each other. And so part of my struggle was getting a team of people. You guys already have a team of people to promote the crowdfunder. So I mean, you guys could probably prep in 6 months or less.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's why we're actually taking this thing, like this podcast is too, is because like, to us, we see it as like, dude, it's literally just us two. Like, we don't have anyone. Like, we don't have like, like, I mean, I get what you're saying because I felt the same way. Like, there's times where I'm like, man, I'm like, you know,
that's us all the time. It's like, hey, it's just us.
like,
it's just me and him.
Like, we have nobody who's like helping us do this. We have to like,
but
you know,
no, I'm understanding now from your side. It's
like that's such a true thing, and I think the way we look at it is the reason why we kind of do this podcast too is so that we can work with other creators. So it's like, hey, let's connect with people that also do similar things, so that in the future it's like, hey, we may need an AD, we may need a homie to help us with producing this, we may need somebody who we know and we trust. Because at the end of the day, like, I forgot who said this, but it was like, I don't know, Seth Rogen or some shit, like, but they were like, hey, you gotta like create a little band of friends and a group of people to work on shit together, and know that like, hey, we're all broke, but you want to work on this thing together, like, you know, and then from there on we can jump from one project to the next and know that like, hey, if we're gonna get picked up to do one show that's paying us, we'll be like, hey, we know some people we can bring on, you know. And that's
totally. And I think that's like, for me, so like, you guys are blessed to have each other, like, that's really cool to be able to connect with each other and collaborate and create. And I think I'm slowly finding that, you know, I'm really blessed and lucky to have my producer. He's also a filmmaker. He did a documentary before he helped me out with my stuff. Okay. But
that's awesome. Did he work on St. Arcadia?
Mm-hmm, yeah, he produced it, and then he also ghost directed.
Okay. Oh, so I think I saw that on one of the posts, right?
Yeah,
I think I saw that
because I was acting in it, and so he was a stand-in director, and he did such a kick-ass job. I mean, he was just so good at it. So
that's sick.
Just having him by my
shout
side.
Shout him out.
Yeah, shout out Alex. Alex Jovic.
Alex Jovic.
I almost forgot his last name.
Wow.
Alex Jovic.
Wow, Jovic.
Don't worry, man. You're good.
Shout out to Alex Jovic.
That's cool.
But yeah, no, just like connecting with Alex, but also connecting with Ariel. Ariel's just such an amazing person to collaborate with.
You guys seem tight now.
She was in.
No, we're
is she
close.
in your? She's in St. Arcadia, right?
Yeah, she's in St. Arcadia.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and then Andrew's also been a really awesome person to connect with. I know he's just always working.
Yeah, Andrew's
like around the clock.
Yeah.
So.
Andrew's an old friend of mine, so it's cool that.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Andrew's?
Like I said, we kind of met in high school.
Mm-hmm.
We were.
Oh yeah.
We were more like music. Like he was into music. He was a guitar player, and then I'm a drummer. So like.
Oh really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
I was like doing drums and drumline, also like bands and all that stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
So we kind of knew of each other, but then we started hanging out, and then I've just known him since when he started getting into film. I was like, oh hell yeah, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm a fan of his stuff.
No, he has it. He has like he has a knack for what he's doing.
He has a knack, definitely,
he
for
does.
aesthetics, for sure.
I noticed that.
So do you have any projects other than St. Arcadia kind of like in the works?
Yeah, so I am just a weirdo. So I'm just always, with a lot of stuff, just starting and stopping. But I had started writing, I had started working on another screenplay. And I just quickly wrote down a gist of a pilot I told you guys before about that I would like to work on. And also, I think St. Arcadia is emotionally taxing as well. Like, just the subject matter was just...
It's heavy.
It's fucking heavy. It was... Yeah. And... I mean, I can just listen to a lot of really heavy shit myself. But I think when it's like your story, it's like even heavier. And I'm curious if that's also like why it's just been so prolonged. Because I get this feeling that when I start working on the pilot's gonna be a drama comedy, and I just get this feeling that that's gonna flow more easily and faster, and just getting everything together, and that's gonna flow a lot more smoothly.
Yeah.
But
because it doesn't have anything like personally tied to it the way
it doesn't. Yeah, it's not like okay. Yeah, like I'm gonna relive my trauma now. You know, it's gonna like this one's gonna be more lighthearted.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll continue to put some serious stuff in it, but yeah, I feel like that's gonna flow a lot more smoothly and a lot more faster.
Cool.
And then I just wrote a short story. I was taking this class. I'm gonna have to drop it. I was just taking it for fun. I already have my degree.
That's cool.
Just because I love writing so much, and it was.
Dude, I've been thinking about taking a creative writing class.
Really? Yeah, they're so much fun,
Yeah.
and this teacher was so fucking cool.
That's awesome.
But I wrote a short story about my friend, and my friend has lived a really intense, gnarly life, and and now he's a counselor. He actually
cool.
counsels freshly released inmates, and he himself learned how to cook crack when he was 8 years old. Was inducted into the gang life.
Yeah.
Shit.
Long Beach is fucking crazy.
Oh, LBC, dude. Yeah,
I didn't know it was that wild,
dude.
I have
bro.
no clue.
Yeah, LBC.
I have no clue.
No, I mean, dude.
Yeah. It's so so he's just telling me about the gang life.
Yeah, man, it's crazy out there.
Yeah, I grew up with Vince Staples.
Yeah, Vince
That's what I'm saying. Vince Staples.
Snoop Dogg is from there.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, man, when they're rapping about shit like that, like you gotta realize that it's a hard life out there. People
so
forget.
he he's seen people die in front of him. Anyways, so I interviewed him for 2.5 hours for the short story, and I'm not a fan of the short story. I think I could definitely have written it a lot better, but I was thinking I could, and I told him, I think I want to turn this into a film.
Yeah.
Because growing up I was such a huge fan of Darren Aronofsky.
Yes.
And Requiem for a Dream.
That's cool.
And so I was telling the teacher about that, and and then I brought up Requiem for a Dream, and I said, but Requiem for a Dream is just the experience, but then with my friend it could be the experience, strength, and hope, because there's no fucking hope, and it's just well, this is what happens when you're on drugs, it's
bleak.
It's bleak, it's dark, and then you die.
Yeah.
You might sell your body. And so his life though, it's there's just a lot of hope at the end of the tunnel. Now he's a counselor. He's a fucking
I know.
He's counseling,
It's inspiring.
It is, yeah. And there's so much more that happened in his life. 2 of his siblings got murdered, and it was just oh my gosh, Rudy, how fucking much do you have to go through? And I was I got home and I was emotional. I was oh my god, that was really sad. But so I'm thinking about turning that into a film.
Okay.
Hey man, that's cool.
I thought that would be interesting.
Yeah.
And I think just with
Just
drug addiction,
just fucking write it.
Just write it. Just do it.
Yeah, just fucking get it done.
Write it.
Mm-hmm.
So you got that. You got that pilot.
Yeah. I need to start. I don't know if you guys get just writer's block.
Oh yeah. Come on.
Dude, writing is the hardest.
Writer's block.
It's such a.
Writing is my least favorite. It's my least favorite part of the whole process, and it's just weird saying that because I want to be writer director. That's just what I am.
No,
but I hate writing. I hate writing.
I I write. I was saying earlier, I write short stories, poems, and films. Sometimes I'll be sitting there writing and I'm oh my god, when the fuck, I want to do this for a career, what in the fuck,
dude.
I hate but so it's I don't always enjoy it myself.
No, it's torture. It could be torture.
For me,
it could be torturing.
For me, it's when the writing is done. I'm yes. Yeah. I'm I have this. Yeah. I've created this.
Yeah. No, I could totally relate to that.
But the process is just ripping my hair out.
It's weird.
Sweat and blood.
And I feel solo writing is hard because I've had such when we used to go to coffee shops and we had fucking part-time jobs that had more time, we would just go to coffee shops and I would write. I had Word docs of okay, let's outline this and I have 10,000 fucking words on pages of different things, and I'm okay, I have a lot to work from. I have a lot of this.
Yeah, but having a writing team.
But having a writing team
Helps.
is so fucking different.
Helps.
Like having a writer's room, like being like, all right, every Sunday we're gonna meet here.
Because you guys would write
We
together.
would break story.
Yeah.
We would be
It
like,
would
all
be-
right, what's the story? Let's make, like, does this story make sense? Does this, like, it's such a different dynamic, and that's why I think
so
like
cool.
if we were to get like certain writers and people together, I feel like I'd be like, hey, I think I could run a writer's room with like,
Yeah.
that's why.
Oh my gosh, I would totally attend.
Dude,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
that's good. That's good to
Yeah.
know. That's
Yeah,
why.
let me know.
Yeah,
Let me
dude.
start it.
Because like I have like, dude, like even that little image on my laptop, like I have an idea for like an animation film, like or not an animation film, animated series where I'm like. It's something that I just want to try. I want to, like, it's kind of like that, like, craving, like, I just need to get out of my system. Like, I want to get that out. And I feel like now that we've developed the skills of knowing how to write as, like, just writers, as a team, like, we could just put ourselves together and just be like, you know what? Let's fucking write some funny shit. Let's write something good, but, like, with substance, and let me direct
And
this,
it's
you know?
fun. The way we did Tube Heads, those 2 pilots, it was technically, like, Axel and I are the head writers. But then we also had our 2 other main cast members here with us. So we would have them show up here with us once a week, and we'd hit the whiteboard, and we would just sort of like, we would throw jokes out. We would fucking like, oh, what if this happened? And it's just, we were just spitballing until we have like a funny story, and then we fit it into the structure, and then I would take it to the screenplay. So I would do all the screenwriting. But it's easier when you have a team of writers. The PP Podcast will be right back.
Since 1954, Capri Deli has been providing great food using the freshest quality meats. Our menu includes a variety of delicious Italian foods made from old family recipes, including our famous lasagna. Our meatballs and sausages are handmade, and our sandwiches are something to behold, loaded with generous portions of meat. Try our famous yardstick. They're great for parties. And top it off with our old-fashioned sodas. Capri Deli, a meat lover's paradise, on San Bernardino Road in Covina.
I feel like just whatever you're doing in general, it's easier with the team.
Yeah.
For
And that's
sure.
what we're trying to do with Planet. Honestly, we're trying to build a team. At some point, we're like, it can't just be me and Daryl.
Oh, yeah,
like
no,
it just can't be us two. We
want
need
a whole team
We
in here.
need people to be like, hey, we need a group of creators to help us like create this thing, and we can let it be their outlet to do whatever they want as
Yes,
well.
yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah.
But
I love that.
I think imposter syndrome is something that like when you're doing it by yourself, when you're writing on your own, like I think it's just putting that weight on yourself, and I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah,
It's just hard.
Yeah, it's
I
hard.
think
It's hard.
That's why
yeah.
I admire my producer so much, just with his own project, just because he has this sort of resilient spirit to
Yeah.
just go out and get shit done. And it's like, fuck, like Alex, like I wish I wish I could just, just go out there
Yeah.
and just, write or show up.
He
and
probably
continue
worked up to that though. Yeah, because that takes.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
everyone's different too.
Yeah, true.
Everyone's different.
True.
Everyone's different because there's the people who, I mean, think about it like this. There's writers and directors who come out with one movie every like 5 years. And then there's other people who are like pumping them out, like let me do this, I'm working on this, and it's just like that doesn't work for everybody. Like not everybody has to be a content fucking machine or a fucking like
with
it's
me.
just,
That's true.
It's just
Everybody's different.
like look at Ari Aster. I mean, he's a director that came out with Hereditary, and then like obviously like he's just some like I mean as a horror film guy, I love that guy, but he doesn't come out with like all the fucking movies like every year.
In my experience of just like and I'm not perfect. I'm not a fucking award-winning.
I think you're perfect.
Thank you, but like what I can say is throughout all the years of me deciding that I wanted to do this, there were plenty of years where I was like, this requires nasty feeling. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to show up. I'm fucking tired. But I've definitely over the years developed a tolerance to it. So I can now easily tolerate a heavy workload. Like this heavy workload right here, I can tolerate it versus me 5 years ago, I couldn't have not. So I think it's just a matter of just doing it over and over.
You gotta find your own way of doing it.
And your own way of doing it.
Yeah,
too.
your own
There's
way.
no specific
Because for
way.
me, I do it very different from Daryl. Daryl's a very different kind of creator. He's a very, he's much more like, he loves lists. He can make lists and fucking like bam, bam,
Yeah,
bam,
I can't go off my head. No way.
Okay, and then also, and I don't know if you guys can relate to this, I don't always, and I know I've met other people that feel differently from this, and I know because I've collaborated with them, and I'm not sure I want to continue to collaborate with this kind of spirit. Yeah. But so I don't always feel like putting myself out there.
Yeah.
Like I don't always, so like I don't even, there are some days where I just want to see one of my friends. I don't want to see a whole group of them. And so, just like, oh my gosh, like,
totally.
Instead of 5 people seeing my face, like I think I want to see, like have one person seeing my face. So just, having a film and then trying to get so many eyes on me, I don't always
it's
feel
weird.
like,
Yeah. I totally get that.
that. And DARYLD, I don't know how because you act in your stuff too.
Yeah. How
do you feel about that?
Again,
are you one of those like performers where you're like, people need to see me? Like I want a lot of people to see me.
So I'm one of those performers where I'm like, I'm really confident in what I do, but I don't want, I wouldn't say I'm like this now, but starting out, I was this performer that was really confident in what I do. So confident that I didn't want there to be a chance to hear otherwise from someone else. I had this good idea of myself, and I didn't want that to be shattered by proof of the opposite, by hearing people giving me negative feedback or something. But that's what I dealt with. And over the years, I got used to people telling me, like, because I got into comedy for a while too, and I went on social media trying to be funny, and so I went years of people telling me, "Oh, you're not funny. Why are you doing this?" I went years of, you know what I mean, and so you thinking that you're good and people telling you you're not could really affect you. Yeah. But then again, it's like you can't please everybody. There's people who I don't even know who will message me and be like, dude, you're so fucking funny. So you can't please everyone. Know you're not perfect and just keep showing up to get better, and just build a resilience and a tolerance to bad criticism, because that was my thing. It was negative criticism was the thing that scared me, and at first it hurt me, but I just got used to it. But I did experience being afraid of putting myself out there because of that,
this is a drama. Comedy is a whole nother beast.
Oh yeah.
And just I tasted that with just doing stand-up, for my friend for the first time. Yeah. I mean, drama is a whole lot easier. But I know, and I've thought that for a while though, because, growing up, I grew up drawing and painting, and then I transitioned into writing. So I feel like comedy has got to be the hardest art form, you know, out of all of them.
It's hard because
not everybody has a similar sense of humor, and you don't know that person's mood.
Yes, and you can't tell if they're just not my humor, or I'm just not funny. Like especially in the beginning, you can't tell. So there was a lot of that I experienced. But over time, I just kept telling myself, fuck that, like keep doing it, and you just look at.
I love that.
And you just look at your work. Like I looked at my work and I felt, look, it doesn't matter if people like this yet. I look at Tube Heads and it's way better than anything I've made prior. So if you see progression in your own work, then just trust that shit and keep fucking doing that.
Yeah, you know that's a really good point, because I remember I for a little bit would make zines.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's fucking cool.
And I remember the second one, it was the second or the third one, and my friend said, hey, you know, when you make these zines, I want to encourage you to take more pride in making them. And it was like such a like nice way of saying like, hey, you know, these zines have been shitty, maybe like amp it up, like work on them, but you know, more to you know, have them, you know, look more cleaner. And so, you know, now with having had gone through production and just being, you know, paying attention to the details. So like earlier, Axel, I saw you with like the lighting and the different things. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like me when I'm in the director's chair, where I'm like, okay, but like this, and like what about that? And
sorry,
so,
Daryl, that was taking too long. I want it. Yeah.
No, I so I can get similarly to that too, but to me it shows the progress that I've made as a creator. You know, going from these shitty zines to now being
exactly.
Whoa, yeah. I just realized that in real time.
There you go.
But,
There you go. No, that's great advice. Daryl gives great advice. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I'm just so happy that you guys asked me to do this. I was really, so people always like are surprised when I tell them that I'm shy. But I'm actually really like shy, and I get really, even when I see my own friends, like I get a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
I get the opposite from you.
Yeah.
And what's funny you saying that is I'm the same. I'm very shy. Like I'm a shy person at my job. If you ask anybody who I work with, you look, what's DARYLD like? They're gonna be like, oh, he's calm, he's to himself, you know. But we have guests here, and they wouldn't think the same, or the people watch the podcast and they wouldn't think the same.
No, I was like getting my nails done earlier, and like the whole time I was just dead silent. But like, I think it's also different when you're talking about something that makes you light up, and like film makes me come alive.
Yeah, you're in your element. You're in your
element. And I'm curious also if being a shy, because I've heard this from other actors, being shy, you're able to express yourself through performing. Like you're able to, you know, like how do I articulate that? You know, so as opposed to the person that's not shy, they just kind of, oh, okay, like, yeah, so a friend that I had collaborated with, when he's around people, he's just like, oh my gosh, like all eyes are on me. Like I just like it's actually it's like unhealthy actually. When I watch him, I'm like, oh my god, like
a secondhand embarrassment. You're like,
yeah,
oh shit.
yeah, like hey, whoa.
Like,
he when he's with people, he's just like, oh yeah, like eyes are on me, like I'm here, like okay, like everybody's ready.
It or he hates it?
He loves it.
Oh, he loves it.
He loves the attention.
He loves
the attention.
He's eating it up.
Yeah.
But like I'm curious where people like you and I, where we're able to maybe be more expressive or outgoing through performing.
Yeah.
I wondered that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is for me. Like people tell me like, hey Daryl, like they ask me like, why are you not like the way you are on social media, like in the way you are in person? And I'm like, well, truth is that's the real me. You don't know the real me. Like that's me expressing myself to the fullest. That's me when you see me on social media being a fucking idiot. That's me. You don't know me if you're asking me, oh, why are you different in real life, you know?
Or could it be because I always, say people are more nuanced than we like to give them credit for?
Always. Everyone's always, I agree.
Yeah, so... and I think that just about being like a female, just not being in a box and just actually being more nuanced.
Totally,
But so I'm curious if also we're shy people with nuance, and performing and acting is a part of that nuance, to where people have this idea of shy people, and maybe we break that open. And we're more colorful, and that's one of the slivers of our color, is being performing. I don't know. I wonder, and I'm also curious about people like that friend that I had mentioned earlier, like when he's in front of people and. It almost reminds me of like a golden retriever, almost like when it's like all eyes are on him, and then like you start petting him, and like the wag's just like the tail is just like wagging all over like uncontrollably, and like his eyes are just like on everybody. But that's what he would remind me of, is just like you just saw it in his face where he's just like, attention, me, like
That's
like
funny.
I'm kind of weird at hearing that, like. Because I'm somewhat of like an introverted extrovert, as in I love attention. I'm such an attention whore. I love attention, and you wouldn't think it.
Well, and that's why I think you're attracted to performance.
Yes. The thing is, like, I want attention so bad in real life situations, but they make me uncomfortable still and nervous. So I get to do it from a distance with my content, and I love it when people see it and when they give me good...
You just throw it out there. You throw your performance out there, and you're like, I don't have to deal with the social interaction.
Yes, exactly.
I feel like that's cool. I'm actually the opposite. I feel like with social interactions and every, like, we're in a social setting, I'm a little bit like, hey, who are you? Let's get to know each other. I'm not so shy. But when you have, like, when I have eyes on me, like a performance or an acting, tube heads, a podcast, that's where I'm shy. I'm like, I don't like if there's eyes on me, if there's a lot of people looking at me, that's when I get shy. But if it's a more intimate setting, then I'm like more like, hey, like,
Yeah, well, that's why I was saying,
it's a spectrum.
Using my friend as an example, this is an unhealthy
like
yearning,
a more of a, like a...
because this is desire all the time.
Yeah.
Friends, social media, they're a performer.
Everywhere,
so it's like, it's just consuming constant attention.
It's dangerous.
Isn't that... Yeah, that's like narcissism too, or like, right?
Shit, we're talking about a friend here. But
I mean, we're not naming names. We all know people like that. We all know people like that.
We don't. I don't speak to them anymore.
He whose name shall not be said in this building.
Or you guys have a similar friend? Or
no, well, I mean, I've known people like that. I've known people who are like, bruh, like, this person just wants attention, like, like, that's...
I hear stories about people like that, and it's dangerous. Like, I just recently heard a story about a person like that, who, this person was with their friend, and they went out, and Mr. Narcissistic over here didn't get the compliments that this person was, so this person was very hurt. So when you're that type of person where it's like
sad.
Yeah, you soak up in the attention so much from every aspect, social media, socially, that once you don't get it the way you want it, it really crushes you and it hurts you. Because you're so used to getting
that validation.
That's spot on.
Yeah.
I think that's totally spot on.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
And I remember, because I considered this person a best friend at one point, and we've since gone our separate ways, but I remember one time they were on social media, and they were looking at their Instagram. They said, do you ever just get so annoyed that your post didn't get as much as attention as you thought it was gonna get? And I was just thinking, no, I don't care. But it was just constant, like, it was constantly on social media. It was constantly like just orchestrating everything about them to get as much as attention as they could. And then essentially it ends up being clout chasing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
You're just
And also other shit, you know, like mental shit, man. They're dealing with stuff, man. Like, it's not healthy. Like, I think there is, like, you know, it could be bad. It could be bad.
Yeah, no.
Totally.
I don't know. And you had asked me earlier, I never answered the question. Well, it was like a 2-part question. You said, why should people watch this film? But yeah, I think also there needs to be more mental health awareness. I don't think that's something else that I don't think we see honestly portrayed in media is a genuine mental illness. Because like I have PTSD, you know, and that's something that I've had to, for the rest of my life, have to live with. But yeah, and I think I just want to keep that conversation going, you know. It touches, here comes for the fun stuff, the fun topics.
Hey.
Yeah, so you know, to keep that dialogue going, because I think, well, I know, because since, you know, when I open up about this to my friends and people, I'll have people who I am not close to or barely even know say, yeah, this happened to me.
Yeah.
You know, I support you in doing this. So I think that this is a dialogue that needs to continue. And yeah, I think I'm the perfect person to do it. I don't know why, but I've always been that person where just kind of, you know, oh, we're not talking about this and it needs to be talked about. Like, well, let me be the first one.
Hell yeah.
Because I don't mind doing that.
Fuck yeah.
Putting it out there,
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, it's an important discussion that needs to be had. As much as it makes us uncomfortable. Like, it's not,
it's real shit.
Yeah, like this happens to people.
Yeah.
But I think that also, you know, for me, having had to overcome this myself, you can also have this happen to you and continue to you can still move forward and still, you know, think to yourself like, oh, life's good and life's gonna be okay.
Right.
And this isn't gonna destroy me, you know.
I think that's the best kind of art. Art, you need those kinds of perspectives.
Good. Yeah.
The ones that you're able to tell truthfully. Like, you know, people want to see themselves in a story. And even if that story is drama, fictitious, these are fake things going on, I think you know, it's the emotion. I mean, we're in it's emotion. Like, if you can tap into emotion of, like, kind of like we were saying earlier, like, it's not just a bleak drama. It's just like, it's like you're trying to end it with hope. Like, you're trying to show, like, hey, this is a story of this character who went through something that maybe somebody can see themselves in. Yeah. And just be like, hey, like, this person went through it and they went through this, you know, arc. And it was a scary arc, but they got to the end, and that's how people can kind of really relate to those kinds of. People can kind of tell bullshit. That's what I'm saying. Like, people can see bullshit. Oh yeah. You know. Oh man. So if you're just trying to tell a story that's just like, oh, like this is that. Yeah. I think that's what I'm saying. It's like, if it's real, if it's coming from somebody who understands those emotions and is putting that in their story, is putting that in their art. That's the best kind of art. That's the best kind of art.
Yeah, no. And that's what I want to continue to do with the pilot as well, and with the other films that I want to make, is just things that, you know, that I've lived or experienced. And because there is, even, you know, not just the films and shows that I've seen that have just been filled with bullshit, but also, you know, books. I remember I was reading a book and I stopped reading it because it was just so just not like just unrealistic. There's in the beginning, because it's this girl and she's struggling to live in New York and it's the 80s and she's a prostitute and her pimp like she, you know, she has this relationship with her pimp and her pimp has a PhD, and I immediately just stopped reading the book. Like, and not that like pimps can't have a PhD, but I just call bullshit on the book and the writer. Like, okay, like you've never struggled. Yeah. Like it's evident.
It's like putting things together and it's like, oh, this is
and so I don't know. I think that's something that I'm kind of sick of consuming, where it's clearly a privileged elitist, you know, creating something or writing something, and just you as the consumer, you're just, you're calling bullshit on it.
Right.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
If it's about this, it's, you know, for a lot of people, it's like, if it's about this, then it's art, you know, or if it's about this, it'll work.
Yeah.
It's like,
So that happened a lot actually in my creative writing class. And I would just be in my seat, just kind of like writhing to myself, just like this person didn't experience this, you know. And so, you know, one person had written a story about I don't know, taking acid, but it was just I don't know, I just could tell that they just had never taken acid. But and then the professor had chimed in and said, yeah, there's this writer, and you know, he like had loosely quoted him and said, you know, the writer had said that we, although never having had experienced this, can write about it. And I immediately just wanted to refute that. Like everything in me just wanted to say, no, that's not true. You know, and people will tell that we haven't lived that or haven't experienced that. But I don't know. Do you guys can think, you know, if it, that's
interesting. That's a very interesting.
Can you only write about it if you've experienced it?
I think being in fiction, I think that's why I say emotion. I think there's experiences that I think that you can definitely have that you put into a fictitious story. Like, even if me and somebody from like, you know, the 80s or 70s, we don't have the same experiences, they may know the same experience of like somebody who's very like, you know, overpowering, like, you know, so you can have experiences where it's like, okay, I grew up in this suburb and I grew up with my parents, immigrants, but I can relate to somebody who may be from like, you know, either a rich background or even more poor background. And we're all human. I think there's a human experience that I think we can all tap into. And I think that's where something, it's like, okay, to one extent, I do agree with you shouldn't write about things like, okay, this is how tripping on acid is, or this is how like fucking, you know, being assaulted or something like that. You're trying to write a story, creating emotions from something like that that you don't know, you don't understand. And I think it's okay to talk to somebody, kind of like what you did. I think that's really cool that you interviewed somebody.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, and I wanted to make that suggestion in class, but I got this feeling that you don't critique in that class, you just kind of you build each other up. But I really did want to tell the person, well, the next time you write about tripping on acid, maybe interview somebody.
So and that's what's cool is that as a writer director, you know, you are somebody who is like, hey, I have a skill in art, and I feel like your story is something that resonated with me, and I would love to put that to the screen. I would love to share your story, and I'm just the person, the medium, and I think that it's not about me. It's about your emotion. It's about what you experience, your emotion, and what you want to share to people, and it's me being the person that can mitigate that in an art and using my craft and skill to put that on screen and a story.
Yeah,
and that's the way I would look at it. You know.
Yeah, and actually, that was actually my very first screenplay. Was I had interviewed my mother because my mother's from El Salvador.
Oh, cool. Oh, wow.
And she had Yeah, she has a fucking gnarly story. She survived the Salvadorian Civil War.
Yeah.
Like, seeing... Like,
no, El Salvador has a very, very just...
yeah.
Their history
it's
is
so
so
violent.
fucked. No, it's bad.
It's like bloodshed.
Yeah.
And it's gory. She would tell me stories about seeing people get shot in the face and having bullets whiz past her. So that was my very first screenplay, and it was a short film, and I think about revisiting that one. I think that would be cool. I mean, down the line when, you know, I have a budget and investors, I think that would be cool to make a film based off of the Salvadorian Civil War. I think about it. I don't know. I do this thing, and I don't know if you guys do it, but I call it writing in my head.
Oh, dude, yes.
Yeah, I write in my head before I actually write.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys? I don't know if you guys do it.
I do. For me, it's always like a scene first. Yeah. Like I'll have a scene, and then like I'll write around that scene. Or,
yeah,
you know.
I've done that. I did that with St. Arcadia.
Oh yeah, with St. Arcadia. Yeah, like I just like, cause I'm just sort of like, I love cinema, and even though I really care about like good story, I love cinema. I love cinematic experience. I love fun scenes, and that's usually where I start. Like I'll be cooking, and then I'll be like, oh, like this would be a fun, cool scenario.
Yeah.
And then I'll write it down, and then all the important shit comes later. I'm like, what is this gonna be about?
Yeah, writing around that. I do that too, and I told my professor that how the screenwriting experience is different from my short story writing process, and that's how. Initially, I got inspired to write St. Arcadia because I was sitting in one of my art history classes, and I was looking. The professor was going over the details of the ecstasy of Saint Teresa, and it's this really beautiful sculpture of Teresa having this divine encounter with an angel, and the angel is stabbing her, and the spear's going through, and Teresa has a sort of like, she looks like she's in awe, but so she's having this spiritual experience, and but like historians also argue that she's having an orgasm. And it's really it's really fascinating because how you know, so I guess we can kind of get into theology for a little bit, but how like when God or Jesus enters us, like it's, I guess, you know, to Christians or whatever, it's this sort of this joyous moment, you know, and we're in awe. So similar to this sort of like a sexual experience. And so there's just, it's really cool. It's just it's such a fucking cool statue with just layers of meaning. Yeah. And so the professor was just describing it, and I was just thinking like, oh man, that'd be so cool if this was like a movie scene. Yeah. Like, I don't know, I just saw it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, and then that's how I started writing.
Yeah, writing in your head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, writing around the scene.
That's
like,
right.
Yeah, because the scene's so inspiring. Like, that's how I feel, where I'm like, I gotta get this out. Like, I'm so like, I gotta run with it. Like, I'm gonna run with this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Like, that's like, I had, for Tube Heads, I had a scene, there was no story around it, no nothing, but I knew I wanted to write a scene where like several people in a room are choking on the same boba ball.
Oh yeah, that's so funny.
So it's like, it's like one. So like one guy's choking on it. Like, let's say it's us three, right? I'm sipping on a boba, and all of a sudden I start. So Axel comes over here and like fucking Heimlichs me, and I cough it out, but then it lodges into your mouth, and now you're like hunk. So now you're choking, and so now we're over there trying to fucking Heimlich you, and this boba ball just keeps lodging into each other's throats.
I love that.
Yeah, we kind of had that as a backup story we could write for.
Wait,
Yeah.
did you guys end up making?
No, that's for a future episode.
Yeah, that's a future episode.
It didn't
Yeah.
make it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just kind
Sounds a
of
good
like
one.
that's just an example of how I go about it. But But yeah, dude, writing in your head, like
Yeah.
Sometimes the best shit comes. I think the most natural, like organic stuff is the best sometimes. Yeah, it's the best
Yeah, no, that's cool. Let me know when you guys make that.
for sure.
That-
No,
yeah.
and then I'll have to check out what the karaoke.
Karaoke Night
it's-
TV. Yeah.
It's called Karaoke Night TV. Just go on my YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
We'll have the links too for everybody to check out and everything.
Yeah, Karaoke Night TV. It's my fucking cringe ass public access show, and I actually run it on cable access channels too.
Oh,
so,
man.
but it's a live phone-in show. We'll probably have you on because we have guests.
Yeah,
come
we're trying
on
to-
and
yeah,
they
guests.
just do a song that they want.
Oh, okay, cool. I
Yeah.
actually sing.
Oh, you
Oh,
sing?
dope.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Shit, all
Yeah, so
right.
I thought about like getting into music
Oh, wow.
actually.
So you have
Dope.
no music out yet?
No, I just
Okay,
kind of taught myself how
What
to
kind of
sing.
music?
Like what I make?
Yeah, like, or would you want to be a part of? Like,
I've thought about. I really like. Man. Oh.
put you on the spot.
Like,
sorry.
Yeah, no. I'm just such a music whore. Like I'm just constantly gorging on music and new music. There's this like synth goth band
Whoa,
called
sick.
Fever. They're a local band.
Oh, nice.
And I've talked to
Local
them
bands.
about
I'll check 'em out.
collaborating with them. But just kind of like the vocals that I have, they just kind of have, and somebody told me this, and it makes a lot of sense. Just kind of like a Billie Holiday, sort of like jazz.
That's
Oh,
cool.
So
sick.
I don't know if I'd get into jazz, but just kind of the vocals just complement and are on that sort of wavelength.
that's awesome.
Oh yeah, you gotta make it happen, Domino.
Yeah, I
Music
I
is fun.
And I'm a musician first. Yeah,
Yeah,
musician
music
first.
is
yeah, I
fun.
know you're saying. So I don't know. I mean, one thing at a time. I don't know about you guys, if you guys like kind of like how we're talking about like just getting so inspired by a scene and then writing around it. If you guys just get so inspired to do something and then go off and start working on something else before you finish the other project, or you
yeah.
guys are finishing projects
No,
and
dude,
then
that's-
moving on.
Oh, no.
That's my worst thing is I start something and I'm like I have a good chunk of it done and then I'm like, oh, look at this, like, and I go do this thing
yeah.
and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
I work on multiple projects at a time always.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean,
It could be.
we got a lot. We got the podcast. We got Tube Heads, so we kind of have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Music too, bands.
the
Or
more,
you guys you do bands?
I used to be in a lot. Well, we actually met through playing shows, a lot
music.
of punk shows.
Oh, okay. And you play music too?
yeah,
Daryl?
yeah,
He's a
I'm in
singer.
a band. I do vocals. Yeah, in a hardcore punk band.
Oh, you did vocals in a hardcore
Yeah,
band?
yeah, I do vocals.
Oh, you do vocals right now? Oh, that's way
They just
cool.
played a show. They just played a show.
What?
We played a show in Long Beach, some
What?
place called Supply and Demand. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
yeah, it's whatever.
I did not go. It's sick,
cool.
dude. Nah, they've been.
You know,
They're
wow, Daryl, you sound so
Yeah.
sound hyped to make music.
Dude,
Oh, well, I love it. For me, the biggest challenge now is just having the, what do you call it? The stamina to just keep fucking doing it, you know? Like, I try to put as many hours a day as I can to everything that we do. So, yeah, now it's just the stamina, like, getting up and showing up and being like, fuck, I'm about to put 4 hours in this, like, and feeling tired, or maybe I didn't get enough sleep the night prior, or maybe I was partying too hard the night prior. So yeah, it's just now it's just stamina, but it always changes. Like the challenges always change.
Yeah, it's always changing.
And the more you learn too, like before crowdfunding, I'm sure there were different struggles, and then you learned crowdfunding, and like this is a whole other beast, and you know it's just
Well, you know, crowdfunding, I feel like, has really changed the game
yeah.
with filmmaking, where before it was just only the elite
Yeah.
making anything.
Yeah.
And so with crowdfunding, now, you know, someone like me can put their shit out there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just Man, I'm just like I really needed this. Like just
Hey, well,
you know,
we'd be happy to have you back again for another
Yeah,
episode. You know,
yeah.
we'll be doing this
We're happy
pretty
to have,
regularly.
We're happy to have you. And
Aw, thanks.
no. So we don't know when St. Arcadia is gonna be out, but once it is, let us know when that premiere is, and we'll fucking.
Yeah.
We'll be
Oh
there.
my gosh. that'd
Even
be-
writing shit too. You know, like
Yeah.
we'll try to set some shit up too.
Yeah. Oh
with
my
writing.
gosh, that'd be so cool.
Mhm.
I would totally. I mean, I don't mind driving. I would totally
Cool.
drive out for like a writing session.
Fuck yeah,
or
we'll drive out too.
just like working on shit.
Sometimes
session.
it's good to know other writers, and see like
Yeah.
how to collaborate, and exactly. Writing sessions like that is really helpful for all of us.
Yeah, and just seeing your guys' process too.
Cool.
Because I think like I've kind of watched Andrew. I think Andrew just cranks shit out.
Yeah.
I want to be more like that.
Well, I've worked with Andrew too, yeah, and Andrew has his, everybody has their own specific style, and definitely, Andrew is, I see Andrew as a director too, like very much director first, because I think he's hiring a writer, I think,
Yeah, he's
Is
very.
he?
yeah, because last time,
hiring?
because he wrote something and he sent me a script so we can work on it to edit it, and then as we were having like a meeting or so too, he's like, oh, you know what, I just want a note so that I can give it to a writer, and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's kind of like he does it. He was director first, and then getting a writer, and I'm like, oh, that's a very
okay.
interesting way to do it too, like,
Yeah.
which is fucking dope, you know,
Yeah.
it's very
I want to
different.
collaborate with him.
Yeah.
Like he was telling me an idea for a short film, and it just sounded so cool. I asked him if I could be a part of it. So I hope that he brings me on board for it, because it just sounded so cool.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's told you about his one short film that he had been writing about the brain.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Is that the one?
That's the one.
He read it. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I gave him notes on. We had some notes, like a session together, but then he's like, I think I'm gonna get a writer for it. I was like, oh hell yeah, dude. Then let's go for it.
No,
man.
yeah, I'm for sure definitely gonna work with Andrew.
Yeah, that
again,
one's a fun one.
and then probably have him on the podcast.
Yeah, we still gotta get Andrew on this bitch.
Yeah,
Andrew's
But,
way cool.
He's fucking chill, dude.
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
he is. He's a really
He's
cool
chill,
guy.
yeah. But anyway, we gotta wrap this bitch
Yeah,
up.
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's time to get
That was
this
a good-
going.
Cool.
Good
yeah.
episode.
No, this was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for having me.
Fuck
Yeah, of
it,
course.
it was
Yeah, I
fun.
appreciate it.
Yeah, dope.
It's fun having you here. But yeah.
We didn't even do our intro. Or,
No, who cares? The
Yeah,
intro's
fuck the
not
intro.
necessary. We're gonna do a fucking outro.
Let's do the
dude.
outro.
We're gonna do an outro. But anyway, thank you so much, Domino,
Yeah.
for being here.
Thank
Once
you.
again, we are looking forward to St. Arcadia, your short film, whenever the fuck that's coming
We're
out.
waiting. Don't worry.
You will know
Yeah,
soon.
To be determined.
Yes, you will know soon.
Yes, you will.
And we are looking forward to have you back on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that is the PP Podcast. It's the Planet Podcast, everyone. It is episode 7 with writer, director, and actor Domino of St. Arcadia, and your host,
Axel Jimenez, and that's the other host.
DARYLD. We thank you once again for being here tonight, and we hope, or this morning, whenever it is you're watching this, and we hope you have a cozy, wonderful, lovely, warm, snuggy, awesome night, and we will see
All
you
right.
back here
Yeah.
for episode 8.
Peace out, guys. Peace.
Peace out. All right.
I'm sorry, but I have to go pee. I have to.